Hello everyone, it's Charlton. Please subscribe to my channel and tap the notification bell. I'd appreciate it majorly. So I'm going to change the two stems on a Delta faucet, and I'm doing this vertical because I don't have my stand with me. The stem part is RP25513. And also the seats, which is, these things are called the seats. There's little sort of rubber washer boots with springs. I use the short springs for my faucet. It comes with two different types of springs. And I didn't cut that open. I wanted to be all ready for this, but I'm going to have to do that in a second. And that part number is whatever, Ralph Paul 77737 George. So I don't think I'm going to start and stop. I'm just going to play this through while I do the repair. I just did this not long ago, and I didn't use the actual Delta stem. I used a Danko for Delta, which is supposed to work for it. It looks almost identical to, this is the Danko for Delta here, and here is the actual Delta. I mean, it has the brass stem for starters, which I definitely prefer, and it did fit in there just slightly differently. Like the handle stood up a little bit taller than with the actual Delta. That was the first time I used the Danko for Delta because they were out of the actual Delta, and so I had to use the Danko for Delta, and it didn't work out. I don't know if I installed it improperly, which I don't think I did, but basically, this is one of the bad seats, and the water wouldn't shut off. You can see that's it basically had pushed up a little bit, and then was getting caught on the opening where the water is supposed to flow through, and just got ripped to pieces. Now there was one that seemed to be good, but if you look close enough, and you probably can't see it, it's actually starting to tear itself, and was almost on it. Was eventually going to do the same thing. So I'm replacing them too. So for starters, you got to turn the water off, okay? And actually in this unit, it has a panel with individual water shutoffs that you have to go do that. I'm not going to show you how to do that. Many places, many homes have the water shut off right underneath the sink. This one doesn't. But you have to shut the water off, believe me, because as soon as you remove, disassemble the stem, water will go shooting into, it's under high pressure. And I've done that, when I didn't know what I was doing or I was just toying around with it. The first thing you need to do is remove the handle. So, for this particular faucet, it's got an Allen wrench under there. You loosen that up and it pulls right off. Then you have to, remove this piece, which is over top of that. So initially, this is in here like this, and this is over top of it. And a lot of times, particularly in this unit, where the water is very, very hard, you get a lot of buildup and calcium and stuff like that, and it may be difficult to get off there. Just take your time. You don't want to ruin it and break it. You may have to just tap at it a little bit with a wrench or something, to work it off of there. And then once you get it off, clean it off with, like CLR or Lime Away or whatever, in a like a Brillo pad or something, some kind of, tough pad to scrape away some of the rust, or not rust, but calcium buildup and so forth. So if you see, this is how one of the assemblies was, and this piece is like kind of torn up and sticking out, and basically it's because of what I said, that the boot got caught, or not the boot, the seat. I always call it a boot. It's actually called a seat. Got caught on there, when the opening, it got pushed up, and the opening where the water flows through, it just got hung up on there somehow. The other thing that's key is, very key, is take a picture of everything before you disassemble it, which is what I did. That's really important. Probably should have said it at the beginning of this video, but, but that way you know how to put it all back together. And these things sit in a very, particular way. Sometimes you just got to figure it out. But a lot of times, if you just do it exactly the way it was before, as long as the person did it properly, you're good. And you won't have to study it and understand it. But I have a little bit. And basically, when the thing comes out of the box, the flat edge, that's going to be the closed side of it. Okay, this is the closed side. This is the opening. You know, and the closed side, when it sits when the stem is in there, and I don't have my seats in there, I'm not putting this together just yet, and these little slots fit right in there, okay? That closed side should be over top of the opening, so that basically in the faucet's in the off position, okay? And when I put this on here, that's off. And when I move that, it moves that closed side away from the opening and the open side to the open opening so that the water can flow through. But, you know, it has to be situated in such a way so that the closed side is over the opening when it's in the off position. And these two things are positioned that will fit your handle so that it just goes through all the mechanics that I just kind of sort of described, you know. But if you take a picture of it beforehand, you should be fine and you won't have to, you know, kind of figure it all out, all right? So, you know, now I need to just go ahead and put my rubber seats in. And it's a little tricky, but it's not hard at all. You just take a screwdriver and put them on the end of a screwdriver and just kind of push them down into your opening, which is right there. You see it right there? That little boot and spring is going to go in that opening. This video is going to be too long, but I just don't feel like starting and stopping and so forth. And I'm not going to rush myself, so I want to do it right. I don't want to screw it up. I've done this several times in these units. This is one of my parents' units because, like I said, the water in these buildings is very hard, very hard. So you get tons of calcium. I don't know if I said it earlier also, but you should put your stopper up. That always, just in case you don't want anything falling down in there, because, you know, for parts that you need, and you don't want anything falling down in there and getting stuck in there. So I use the smaller spring, which is that one. It comes with a longer spring. I've never used this one before, but I'm sure there's a sink that needs that. And you know, you just put the boot right over top of the spring, like so. Damn it. And you know, like that would be. And then you put it on top, you know, just put a little screwdriver on there and just lead it down in there, you know, lead it right in there. Before I do that, I'm gonna sort of lube it up with some of the silicone, and just as a, you know, trying to be thorough and stuff. And I'll use this silicone grease to sort of lube up around this thing too before I put it on there for good. Getting the boot in there can be a little bit, you know, just a little tricky because a lot of times you don't get it the first time, but eventually it sits in there. And you don't want to gunk up too much, you know, just a little bit. You know, you don't want it sitting in your opening. Because the water's going to flow through that, you know, through that hole. I don't know. I can't remember if they advise you to do that or not, but I just did it. I wipe most of it off. So I just put that down in there. Definitely a little tricky. I didn't get it the first time. But you get it, believe me, it goes. Once you get it in there, you feel it, it's in there good, and you're all set. But you want it in there good. I mean, that could have been, who knows, maybe that's why I had the problem, but I don't think so. I think it's just because that Danko for Delta wasn't the greatest fit. And I'm not like a master plumber too, but if it's off, you know, if it's not level, and there's a spring there pushing it up, so it's, you know, it's a little, I guess it takes a little bit of a touch. But if it's not level, it might catch on that opening again and just do what happened before. You have to take my word for it. It's pretty good. Definitely. Looks good. I'm going to do that again. Got it. It's very good. I wish you could see that, but you're not going to be able to see it. Actually, you can. It's out of focus though. See it? It's very good. It's good. Believe me, it's good. All right, so now I just got to insert these, you know, line up that thing with it, and you want it exactly the way it was. And now this flat side is going to be, you know, that's the closed side. So that's going to be on the opening when I'm in the off position. And I know my handle, because I've already tested it out, or that's the way it was before, you know, it's going to sit right on top of there, and it'll be like that. And then when I turn it on, that closed side will move away from the opening so that the water can flow through. Same thing over here. The closed side is on the right, flat side face the right, and those little, you know what, I forgot to put my silicone on there. I've done this before without silicone, that's for sure, several times before I saw somebody use the silicone. I think that's more for like the bathtub faucets, but I'll do it for this too, might as well. Who knows, maybe that's, see, that fits right on there. Pull this back out. Make sure that thing didn't move, which it didn't. How we done on time? 14 minutes. Yikes. I don't, you know, I just want to do it right. I don't want to, you know, and that's pretty much it, okay? You know, I'm just going to put this thing back on here. And I've already cleaned it off. We'll take a pair of pliers and tighten that up, but you don't want to tighten it too tight. I forget what they call these pliers. You know, don't go crazy. Tighten it up. Just tighten it. Tighten it tight, but not crazy. Sounds really good. Alright, I'm gonna go turn the water on and then test these out, and then I'll put my Allen wrenches too far in. I was messing with that before. That's why it wouldn't go on. Now it's on. And see, before, for some reason with those Danko, it like stood up higher. I don't know why. I'm gonna go turn on the water and then test it. Okay, here we go. That shuts off. And that shuts off. That's fixed. And the problem was it wasn't shutting off. It literally wouldn't go off, and it was mostly the hot. But I have to tighten that up and, you know, make sure everything's really cool. It is though, it's good. And that's, you know, it goes on and off. And you'll notice no dripping. No dripping on the faucet. That's usually you're changing those stems because of a drippy faucet. If you have a tiny little drippy faucet, it's usually because of those stems. And they just been eaten away by the hard water. You know, the seal's just not good. The washer's not good. It rubs off. You can almost makes your fingers black. Or same thing with the seat. But no drip. Turns on, turns off. Gotta tighten that up, and that's done. Man, I need a haircut. All right. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. I will see you in the next video. Later, man.